The new Blumhouse thriller Speak No Evil is a remake of a Danish film that was released just 2 years ago. I found that film to be really engaging and impactful, and it even inspired me to have some introspection on myself and my own personality. And when I heard they were making an American remake of that film, it felt like a completely pointless endeavor. There was no way a mainstream American horror release, made by a mostly crowd-pleasing company like Blumhouse, could even possibly attempt to replicate the slow burn cringy unease of the original, let alone its pitch black bleak ending. So was I proven right, or has the Americanized version's writer and director James Watkins delivered something that I thought to be impossible? Well, yes and no. For the most part, this is a shockingly faithful adaptation of the original Danish film. In this version, an American family, a husband, wife, and young daughter, meet a British family, husband, wife, and young son, while on vacation. They hit it off, and the American family are invited to stay at the secluded farmland home of their new vacation friends, only to be subjected to a series of slow-burning, awkward, and cringe-inducing social interactions and faux pas that eventually boil over into something more overtly sinister. Like the original, the American version takes its time, equally reveling in some really gorgeous scenery and some really skin-crawling uncomfortable situations. Both films are satirical and depraved explorations of the lengths we go to keep the social peace. They're blistering takedowns of seeing something and not saying something, following threads to the extreme ends of what can happen when you don't properly advocate for yourselves or others. As someone with anxiety, an aversion to conflict, and a crippling need to people please to avoid any sense of awkwardness, I found myself soberly relating to the central couple that serves as both films' protagonists. If I've ever seen myself as the lead of a horror film, it's of the husband in the Danish original. And that realization was both devastating and haunting, and it's what's kept that film in my mind ever since. And for the first 2 acts of the remake, the structure is pretty much identical, with the only distinct difference from the original being the tone of the performances. In the Danish version, everything's played really naturally and authentically. The antagonists feel like they could be genuine, albeit highly inappropriate, family, friends, or neighbors. That authenticity makes the antagonists feel more familiar and relatable. You can see them actually having these people as family, friends, or neighbors, and so it makes them all the more terrifying. In the remake, James McAvoy is never not at an 11. Even in the beginning, when he's a stranger who turns into a fast new friend, he's playing it like a monster who's barely keeping his mask on. There's never any doubt or pretense of where he's going as a character or the depths of villainy he's capable of. He's like Chekhov's gun. You introduce a roided up British guy in the first act and you know he's gonna do something crazy in the third. Or how Quentin Tarantino says an audience will stay engaged in a long conversation between two people if the film shows beforehand that there's a bomb underneath a table that could explode at any moment. It's an entertaining performance, but it also feels like a calculated one. Like the filmmakers thought they needed to more obviously wink at the audience to let them know that the escalating tension is leading to some real fireworks by the end. And that ending is where this remake massively deviates and sets itself apart from the original. Gone is the ending that feels like it's intentionally trying to antagonize the viewer with its bleak cynicism. In its place is the exact type of generic Hollywood thriller climax that I feared would happen. And yet, in execution, writer and director James Watkins kinda pulls it off. Even in a more broad and mainstream final act, the film continues to explore and play with its core themes in some surprisingly entertaining ways that I won't spoil here. It's an ending that's more overtly entertaining, crowd-pleasing, and occasionally even pretty funny. Those are not even close to the words I would use to describe the original film's ending. They're the words I'd be most dreading to hear about this film's ending before watching it, and yet, it kinda works. Nowhere near as effective as the original film's ending, and I doubt this version will have any lasting effect on me, but I had a good time watching it. And if you want a worse time but a better movie, seek out the original. But that's just like my opinion, man. Let me know yours in the comments below. Follow me on Letterboxd at Josh D. Floyd for more of my up-to-date movie thoughts, and subscribe to this channel so I can see you in the next one.